Welcome back, sir. How's things going?
Hello, sir. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing very good, sir. I played like a 5 a.m. double down game, which was solo queue. So like we won that one. So yeah, that got 60 MMR, which was very very good.
Nice. So where are we
Yeah,
at
and that
now,
was a
man?
birth.
Where are
That
we
was
at
a
on the
birth. That was
MMR
birth.
bracket?
We are 1,350.
And what were we when we started?
Oh my God, I went as low as 700 MMR, coach. When we started, I was probably 1,000 something, and I
Okay.
went up and down. I went
Okay.
up and down, but the streak is doing pretty well. It is doing pretty well. And I messaged the 2 games that I had. I
Yeah.
I was applying what you taught me, which is, coach. I've been salving. I've been salving left and right. I've been salving like it was nobody's business, man. I was just like, "Do you need a salve?" And they're like, "No, you need a salve." That's how much salve I've been like salving. So it's and it wins lanes.
It does. Yeah.
I was so surprised. I was like, "This actually wins lanes." And yeah, I've been what you I thought the last session was a really big one for me because I didn't I was pushing the lanes, but I was also do it effectively. So when you said top and mid first, um uh, you push mid and top, mid in your safe lane first, and then the third one if those are both pushed, that kind of just clicked for me. And I have been doing that, and it's been super super helpful. And but that has been, I think, kind of, I've hit in a bit of like what's the word, it kind of clicked, like everything we've been doing for the past, like, how long have we been doing? Months. We've been doing this for a while. um has kind of clicked.
Banana slam jam.
I think it's my movements have been a little bit more fluid, I would say. Everything that I was trying to learn one by one are kind of like meshing well together. And one thing as well, mindset wise, I'm kind of also becoming more aware when I'm playing for my MMR and when I'm just simply playing my best.
I see.
That for me has been very very important, because I notice I get a bit more tilted when I'm like, oh, I thought I was not playing for my MMR, but when I realize I just really focus on just playing the best game I could play every game, that's when I absolutely play my best. And just that shift in mindset and that self awareness has helped me play a little bit more consistently. Because when I get tilted and when I focus on my MMR, I click on my MMR, or I have it in the back of my head, I don't play very good. But lately, I've just been kind of like really enjoying what won the game, understanding what won the game. If we lost, understanding what lost the game. In this game, this was Shadow. Is this the one with the
Yeah.
Legion
Shadow Fiend
safe lane?
carry. Shadow Fiend carry maybe, unless they
Yeah,
swapped like
I
lanes.
went, and
Oh, it is
coach, look,
Legion carry. Okay. Yeah, Legion
yeah,
carry.
she went carry. We're like carry, and we were just like Legion safe lane, and she's like, yes, relax. And we were like, okay, do you, sir? And I went, coach, I've been doing starting items as well now. I've been thinking about that more since so I thought since it was magic damage, I think a headdress would do well.
I
So
think headdress is okay. I think it's just not as strong of an item as it used to be. So it's like if
mm,
you like maybe want to get an early tranquils, you could go like ring a regen towards like
ring
not
of
a headdress, but like to
regen.
go towards tranquils. So instead of like investing that money into the headdress, I think just Jakiro kind of has like mana issues. So
Mm,
like the one clarity is probably not going to be enough. You're probably going to have to buy a salve anyway. So I think
I did.
headdress right now is kind of just like a big investment. It's not like it's like I
Mm,
see what you're going for, so I don't want to like
yeah,
flame it, but I do not
of course.
necessarily think it's like the meta item right now. I don't think you're very
Would a
often going to buy.
buckler would have been better? Would
No,
a
I
buckler
don't think you
been
need a big item in this lane. I think you're just going to want to go like four tangos, a salve, couple mangoes.
a
If
couple
you want to go
mangoes?
that ring
Okay.
of regen, I'm not going to hate it, but you know, I
Yeah.
wouldn't ever commit to these big items unless it's like really necessary. So like if you have a low armor carry and it's two
Mm.
physical damage dealers, you could go buckler. That's like
I can go Buckle.
That's like super.
Slardar.
Yeah, it's like Slardar plus Marana, who's going to be like right clicking a lot, and your carry is somebody with really low armor,
like Drought.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly. So you could then in like those extreme situations, you could invest in these bigger items, but I think otherwise. You'll just want to go for a little bit of everything. But that's probably going to change with the next patch, so I want you to
Are you excited? I'm excited.
I'm very excited. I'm more so just please give me the patch kind of thing. But I've been taking the approach to, you know, I was going to say that the mentality of not caring about MMR, it just liberates so much, man. It feels like...
Oh, so much.
You know, like today I lost 3 games and I was getting a little frustrated because the way we lost was pretty stupid, but like...
Understandable.
At the end of the day, I was just like, meh. You know, I could have played better. These things I did wrong. My targeted priority in fights and a couple of these decisions I made, I shouldn't have died. And like for me, I don't know. I come off those games and sometimes you guys still got to like decompress. You got to like take a break for a second because it's frustrating to lose 3 games in a row. Yes. But it just feels so nice to just worry about making sure you do your best in the game and acknowledging that what your teammates did is wrong, sure, but not ever worrying about whether or not you won or lost, I think is like a big deal. You're trying to win, you want to win, but yet at the same time, it's more so understanding why you didn't win, right? Like
Coach, that's been honestly really huge for me. Like realizing when I was playing, it wasn't even, I know that you shouldn't play for MMR, but realizing when I was important. When I can tell the difference when I was playing my best, just playing to play my best and playing for my MMR, just having the self-awareness over playing Dota for this long now. Was very, very helpful for me. Like it was like, oh, okay, now I understand. That's how I feel.
Self-awareness in Dota is important, man.
Yeah. Oh my god. And then you ask yourselves when you play to play your best, you ask yourself, why did we lose that game? Like that's the kind of questions you ask yourself when you're in that mindset. And oh, we got to connect. Nice.
The good old carry feeding while you're pulling. I just want to say to all supports out there, including yourself, your job is to communicate that you pulled, and if your carry still walks up and fights 1v2 with no creeps and dies, please just understand he's just bad. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't mean you shouldn't pull.
Surprised.
Like,
I was surprised.
The only reason this guy's dying is because he's legit walking into 2 heroes with a full creep wave while, like, you're pulling. Like this.
Yeah. I was just like...
He's just walking up to them. Like, he's not playing safe at all. Like, he literally just walked in. So what people need to understand is when the lane's pushing into you as a core, just let the lane push into you. Because it's going to go underneath your tower. You'll be safe once it is. But that's when the opponent's going to capitalize. And I hate having people come into my stream and say, BSJ, I can't pull in my bracket because I get flamed and pinged because my carry dies every time I do it. It's like, can't we just teach our carries to not die when you pull? Like, can't we just like do that instead of just never pulling? So I'm going to encourage you and everyone else to continue pulling like this, even if your carries are stupid. Not much you can do about it.
Well, to be fair to him, that was the last time that happened for him. Yeah. So I think he understood. Missed that pull, but
you gotta tango this tree. You have to tango the tree if you want.
I get it. Yeah, I understand, Coach. I was trying to save my tango for that, but I really get the timing off with that pull sometimes, because sometimes I don't know where to stop. Yeah, that one is a hard pull, because sometimes like wait, I was right here, dude. Like what? Why did you go to the? It's a hard one to get sometimes. I missed this one because I attacked it late.
To be honest, like chain pulls, I haven't had a chain pull in my lane in like 20 games. People just don't allow it at my bracket. They just don't allow it. I'm just saying they don't allow it. So, like, I'm saying like the Witch Doctor, I already told you last time. Witch Doctor has like 40 seconds to realize you're pulling, and in my bracket, it takes them like 2 seconds to realize you're pulling. So it just never works.
They go, yeah. But I do understand now and see like when, oh, this is a really good fort because he's contesting me every time.
Yeah.
Like this one, I'm just like, oh, okay. He's just letting me do my thing. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, LC's gonna get fat. Cool. Set the XP of your carry. Cool. Of your off lane.
So all I can really say is your items are super late. You basically have like 300 gold or 200 gold here. You have 400 gold in your inventory. I like most of the things you're doing in lane. I think that's all pretty good.
It's the biting.
It's really just now incorporating this into it. It's a big deal. We kind of emphasized it a bit last time, but it's like gonna really take you getting in the habit of it to make it work.
No, coach. It's not an excuse, but there was like 4 or 5 in the morning games, so I wasn't really as crisp as I am mindset wise. But I totally agree with you, and I just wanted to play.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
Sometimes we just want to play.
This was after 2 events, like hosting 2 events. It was actually my birthday yesterday, so I was like, you
Oh!
know what? I'm gonna reward myself. I'm gonna
There you
play
go.
some Dota. A good game.
Nice ice path.
Nice.
That guy lived because you salved him earlier. Very cool.
Yes, I'm very happy with my also other lane. The one after this, the Crystal Maiden one, because I realized our win condition, and I also understand the matchup against Silencer. I was just like, there's no way I'm trading with this dude. So I just kept my distance the entire game, and he got no kills against me. It was a Silencer and a something. Oh, okay.
So what do you think my issue is with the current situation?
Here right now?
Yeah, just in general. Just like looking at everything you could possibly see on your screen right now. What's like the
Right.
issue?
Is that a catapult near my tower?
No.
Let me think. I have a thing. I have money. I'm not buying a salve. I am low mana.
So, Eric, I'll answer it this time around.
Yes, please.
So, basically, what I need you to know now is a lot of the things you're doing are good, meaning pulling, establishing the lane equilibrium, coming over, harassing, giving your carry XP.
Yes.
The next step for you is you have to buy items and you have to buy wards.
I have to buy items and I have to buy wards.
And it has to be more timely. Like, if it's 8:45 into the game and it's like 3 minutes of nighttime and your Legion is getting ganked, and I look at the minimap and I see this.
Okay.
Look at the minimap, right? You see nothing.
Yes.
That's what I see, right? So the emphasis I'm giving to you and everyone else is it's first and foremost important to go through the motions. It's really important to, that's why the bot matches I encouraged, because it encourages you to just not think about anything but the efficiency aspect, which is to make sure you're pulling, make sure you're giving your carry as much solo XP as possible, making sure you're getting as many last hits at the camp as you possibly can, all that kind of stuff, right? All those little things that you are doing. But the next step is to have that be back of your mind, subconscious. It's happening, you're doing it.
Now,
yeah, and so eventually that has to happen. And the thing you now have to think about is the vision for where you're playing, meaning like if you're going to stay bottom, you need to have vision. There's just never a game where you have 2 heroes in this lane and you just play blind. Like you just ignore the information part of the game. So what I was encouraging, I once had a guy sign up for a replay, and he said, I've been trying out support. He actually said he liked this series. And he said, I've been having a good time, and I was playing tree, and I really don't understand warding all that well. And warding's simple, Ari. It's really simple.
Yes.
Where do you want to play? Put some vision there.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're going to choose to play bottom lane, I need you to have vision there. If you're going to choose to rotate top, I need you to potentially de-ward them seeing you, and then place a ward of your own. The one thing I need to never see from any supports is that you're playing a part of the map and you just choose to have nothing. Like, you need to see it. So this is something that needs to be done, the earlier the better. So I've been actually coaching my girlfriend a lot. She's been getting back into Dota. She's kind of gone through like big swings of sometimes binging and then sometimes like not playing really at all. And she's been trying to get back into mid lane, and a lot of the stuff is like her trying to remember to get the ward at 5 minutes for herself, and then planting it and protecting herself, and checking runes every 2 minutes, and getting the bounties. And it's like a lot of Dota is just repetition, rinse and repeat.
Yes.
And there's things that just have to be done every single game. So it's like, if you're gonna play an area, buy a ward. If you have items, buy them and ship them out. Like as a support. If you have anything more than 300 gold, that's because you either just got a kill or you're saving up for boots. There's no exceptions. So for you, I need you to start drilling yourself on these things. Just the fundamentals while you're doing what you're already doing, which is correct.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is to now do all these little fundamental things, because I believe after playing and watching, like I've been playing my Smurf games and I've been watching my replay analyses and your sessions too, that at your bracket, the first step is just do everything fundamentally correct. Like, because in my bracket, when people start to also do it, you have to worry about counterplaying, and you have to worry about all these random things. But, like, in your bracket, it's funny because I'll smurf and I'll be like, these guys, like, I picked Venomancer as my educational smurf hero yesterday. And I said, Venomancer does, like, a ton of damage over time. He does a lot of harass. And the best thing you can do against it is to, like, try to sustain. You know, they should buy more sustain items. They should play defensively and keep themselves healthy. What did they do? They bought very little regen. The Witch Doctor never leveled his W, and they just fed. And I was just like...
They just fed.
They just fed.
Okay.
And I was like, in your bracket, if you just play Venomancer, or if you just play your hero, you'll win the game. You know? Like, you don't have to adjust. You don't have to, like, think about what the opponent's going to do in response. Kind of like you see this Witch Doctor. The majority of players, they're not even going to try to stop you from, like...
No.
You're going to get some of them. Sure. You'll get some of them. But you're not going to get consistent practice at that because a lot of the players in your bracket are just going to let you do whatever you want to do. So I want you to do whatever you want to do perfectly or like as efficiently as possible. I'm not going to nearly worry about other heroes as much as I am just doing what you need to do. And like if your job or if you think Legion doesn't want your help, then if you're going to leave, I want to see you ward wherever you're leaving to. You know, last time we talked about how if you're going to leave, you have to decide whether or not you're going to TP or whether or not you're going to walk.
I've been walking so much more, and that has been so helpful.
It's a game changer to just walk places.
It was literally, I have the option. And what I do now is I'm taking notes, right? And I have those notes next to me.
Yeah.
And I just really just apply certain like, all right, what coach said on number 1. And like right now, I'm writing down if I'm going to stay bottom, you have to have vision. I'm practicing what we've learned from the session, and that's been super, super, super helpful. So far I stayed with this Legion because he was like he could die a lot, and since she's our safe lane, I was just like, maybe I just have to babysit this Legion just a little bit more.
Thanks for playing Dota 2.
So
one thing I want to tell you is I actually made a video recently on YouTube. Let me actually look it up.
Do link that up. Yes, thank you.
Let me look it up. Curious because it's like exactly this game. Do you know how SF works, Ari?
Huh?
Do you know how SF works? As
how
like a hero?
SF?
Shadow Fiend.
Shadow Fiend, magic damage, does the Yules with the ulti. That's as much as I know so far.
Okay, 1 second.
Low armor.
Okay, so I basically let me. My videos. Does it give me the order now? Okay. Where is it?
While you're doing that, Coach, can I just say that when I'm pushing my lanes effectively, it just feels like you have control of the game. Like it feels really, really like, okay, even if, let's say, and I'm starting to understand matchups as well and win conditions a little bit more.
No, absolutely. The thing about your bracket is, like, if you just kind of do what's fundamentally correct, it'll just work. And it should feel like you know what you're wanting to do, you know what you're trying to accomplish, and you'll feel good about it. I want you to watch that. I want you to look at that.
Sure.
I don't want you to overthink this, but I'll just give you an answer key for this game. Legion is a hero that wants you to gank for her because she has an ult that she wants you to help with, and otherwise she wants you to go away because so you're either ganking for Legion or you're leaving. That's basically how Legion works. She's not like an actual carry, and if she was a carry, even if if you want to treat her like a carry, she's not fragile. She just wants help killing people. So the hero on your team that is fragile is Shadow Fiend, and so the way Shadow Fiend works is that he pretty much wins almost every 1v1 in the game. I don't know if you know that, but he pretty much wins every 1v1 in the game.
Really?
So the way people deal with SF, his nukes are insane. He has three 300 damage nukes that all do bonus damage every time he hits you.
Not unless you have BKB.
Yeah, so he has free damage from this. Like, a lot of his abilities in a 1v1 vacuum are just really broken. So the weakness of him, like you said, is low base armor and low tank ability and no survivability tools. You know, he doesn't have an escape tool or anything like that.
Yes.
So what ends up happening as SF, almost every game is this. Getting fucked with by 2 people. So the reason why this is working for him is because he's level 9 and the opponent mid laner was in your lane and a tiny who's level 6 is playing against him. What I'm trying to tell you is SF wins every solo. And you were telling me you want to play around Legion. And I'm specifically telling you SF's a hero you will always want to play around. You always want to try to help this guy. What you're going to start learning is there's going to be mid laners that rotate to you. And there's going to be mid laners that you rotate to.
You rotate. Ooh, okay, wait, that's important.
Yeah, something to think about.
Okay, wow. You know, the more I'm playing Dota, I'm just like, there are so many layers.
Yeah, there are a bajillion
and
layers.
What you're teaching me now, I'm just like, and I'm already seeing, like, there are so many layers to this game, and it's gonna take a while.
I get it, and I don't want to overcomplicate this with like specific matchups, but I want to generalize statements and say that certain heroes need you to babysit them, certain heroes need you to gank for them, certain heroes want you to never be there, certain heroes need you to defend them, like be ready to defend them. Ways to handle different heroes is always going to happen to you. Yeah. So last time I feel like whatever I said was maybe too black and white and it might have been detrimental to you, but I want you to think about in your games I want you to write like a timer down or something, and it's like I'd say 8 minutes in. I think we said 7-8 minutes is when we said laning stage probably ends.
I've been doing that.
Just ask yourself who you want to play around, and if you can ask yourself that, we'll start talking about it. That's what that video is about. It basically says where to play after the laning stage.
Ask yourself. I'm gonna watch this for sure.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm also like not watching much, Coach, is I just want to like tunnel in on the things that we're
absolutely
discussing.
So that's why I definitely don't want you to go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Because what I realized before is when I focus on too many things, nothing gets kind of.
Yeah, you kind of panic. You kind of just get over.
Yeah. But you're saying, Coach, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I just want that 7-8 minute mark to be something we can start talking about between you and me. I want you to come back to me and say, BSJ or Coach B, I thought I was supposed to play here. And you give me a reason. The best reason you can come up with, whether it's the most simplistic thing, whether or not you're like, didn't make sense to go somewhere else. I just want you to give me as much as you can about why you chose to play there. And if that means for the future, you're like AFK for 15 seconds at 7 minutes, thinking to yourself about what you want to do, that's fine. Like, I'm fine to see some like random 15-second AFK.
As long as you want me to initialize that thought process.
Yes, like, because this is something, like you said, there are a lot of layers.
Oh my god.
And so I don't expect this to be correct. I just want to get an idea of where you're coming from thought process-wise, and we can slowly tweak you to get on the right track. So like in this game...
Who do you want to play around? Oh, okay. But you know what's so funny? The fact that you just said this now, I'm already seeing decisions that I made in my recent games, where if I played around a certain hero and enabled them a little bit more, then I think we would have won the game.
Oh, absolutely. The thing about this that's so funny to me, Ari, is I want to start talking with you about it and teaching a lot of the people watching. I straight up, like, that's me flaming some rank 200 immortal guy. Like, he may be a core player or whatever, but if you watch my video that I linked you, it's like, it's not actually that hard once you gain the experience. Like, so for you... A lot of it's going to be like, I'm going to accelerate your process, hopefully, by like you giving me experience and us talking about it. But like for someone in the Immortal to not do this properly, it just means they're not using their brain. Like they're literally not using their brain. There's actually no other reason that they wouldn't
just have
do
really
it
good
correctly.
Mechanics.
Because they have all of the knowledge required to make the right decision. They've played the game enough. They've experienced these situations enough that they should be able to know this. And it's not that they don't know it, they just don't think about it. So for you and everyone else, I'm trying to get that like mindset of these things are important. At the 7-8 minute mark, it is really important for you to decide where you want to play and why. And so for you, whether it's right or wrong, I don't really care. I just want to initiate that thought process. In this game, it would be SF. That's who I'd want you to play.
He's the 1v1 king.
He's a glass cannon that does a shit ton of damage if you like stun them at all. Kind of like that. If anybody ganks for SF, remember how he said kills are damage and stuns, right?
Yes. Yes.
So you do come mid. Your Legion goes back bottom. You run top. This is reasonable.
I just thought
This is a situation where I would want you to have wards and sentries. I'd want you...
Yes.
I would say if you rotate to the opponent off lane, 90% of games, you should place a sentry right here.
Here.
Right here.
Okay, there.
And what's
Sentry
going
right
to... You
there.
see my cursor, right, or no?
I see it. I see it. I see it.
Okay. You place it right here, and what's going to happen is you fly your courier over the high ground. So your courier scouts the high ground for you. But what this sentry does is it covers like every lane ward they could possibly have.
Okay,
Right
where's
here.
that again? It's
like right in the middle.
below
What
the
happens
stairs.
is when you place wards, it gives you like an indicator of how much it sees, the sentry.
Yes, yes, of course.
You want
yes,
that
yes.
indicator like bottom right hand corner to be like over this hill. So like
Okay.
wherever that exact location is. So like you'll
Okay.
you'll have the indicator, and you just want the bottom right corner to be like right here.
It's like in the Radiant Jungle. I always do in between those two. Sentry
This
in between.
you
those
sentry
two.
like right here, right?
Yeah, I sentry right there.
Yeah.
Just to hit both clips.
So-
just so that I'm like, all right, I can check both.
This is what I mean by getting the fundamentals down of, and if you're in your own lane, like if say you walked from bottom to mid, that's when you would just place a ward. And the earlier you place the ward, the more important it is, because if you're the first guy to place a ward, you're like 10 times more likely to see them place theirs. Right? Like, so
then
then
you
you
can
get
deward,
easy
yeah.
D wards, right? But if you're going to rotate top, even in 1K MMR area, 90% of the time they have a ward here. 90% give you their vision. Dire has a ward here.
There it is. Oh yeah, you're right.
And the best thing about this area is if you're in some shitter game where nobody's playing support on the opponent team, if you sentry here, you know they don't have a ward.
Yes.
Which the knowledge to like confidently say they don't have a ward is just as important as killing their ward area. So like when I said fundamentals is every time you go top from bottom or bottom from top, you are placing a sentry to see if there's a lane ward. That is something that 80%, 90% of the time 5-position players in my bracket will do. And it's like really hard as a carry to play when that ward gets dewarded. It's way harder.
In my bracket, it's rarely done. And if you think about it, it's kind of game winning if you kind of polish that up.
Oh, it is
not-
absolutely game winning. Continue.
Oh man. But warding, I'm glad we're actually hitting the subject of warding because I know I understand it and I understand, but kind of getting specific about it is something I think that I like that's the next layer to my game that we're trying to improve.
So
'Cause
we're
I
getting
think
you to
that's
the right
super
places. I think your rotations are reasonable. You went top, took the tower. You walked back mid. You're pressuring this tower. Once again, Ari, I want you to be confident for the time being about where you're going. It's good enough in the 1K bracket. Like you're playing the map better than 1K players. We'll have to revisit the subject eventually. But now it's these fundamentals of when you go places, what you got to do. If you're in your own safe lane, make sure you have a ward and de-ward wherever you think they may have one. So if you just want to aim for it, we can talk about why they would have had a... Remember last time I said, I know they have a ward because they saw you here. And you were like, I don't know that kind of stuff, but like that's the stuff we can start talking about because maybe you'll remember it again.
Like that.
Right?
I think that's a huge contribution as a support player. So
It's huge.
I would love to.
It's absolutely huge, Ari. And what I'm emphasizing to you and everyone else is I can't teach you guys if you're not warding though. Right? I need you to just ward and sentry top. Like if you just sentry this top area, like every single time you rotate here, there's a lot of things we can talk about. Maybe like a bit off on the sentry, or maybe in this specific game you didn't have to sentry because of this. But like that step, it needs to be done from your guys' end first. And it's kind of funny when people say, BSA, what happens when I do push lanes? I'm like, well, how about you go push lanes for 100 games in a row and we'll find out, you know? Like you're tasking me to spit out theoreticals. But for you, that's definitely your next step because I'm confident with how you're playing the map. And
honestly, can I say, Coach, like pushing like this way, it feels really good. Like I'm like, hey, they're letting me push. When I say in my bracket, it's like it's not as you don't meet a lot of teams that push effectively at a certain level. Like at least for our level, right?
Yeah.
So doing this, I had a spec give me a nice compliment. It's just like, is this Airy for BSJ? And it's a spec on the enemy team. I'm like, yep. It was just like, oh, so dude, it was so hard to play. You were always pushing lanes. I'm like, yep, that's what I was taught, spec. And it obviously is an acknowledgement from the enemy carry saying that, yeah, we were feeling the pressure, and it just feels you have a really good control of the game if you're always pushing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're applying good pressure to mid tower here. What do you think my issue is?
I'm playing good pressure to mid tower here. Your issue is, where's the creeps?
I'll give you a hint.
Ward.
This is yep. It's literally just can't see
I did
shit.
not ward.
Just can't see shit.
I can't see shit. Yeah.
Yep.
I should have warded somewhere in the back. Actually, coach, to be not to defend myself. I totally understand it, but I do ward. I would say at least 50 to 60% in these situations, or 70%. It's just,
and that's great. And I'm saying, like, I want to be encouraging. That's great. I've had people come into my coaching sessions saying the same shit. And all I'm saying to you, in the most encouraging way, is I see what I see.
Yes, of course.
It should be 100%. Like, that's just what it is, right? And so I'm like, it's like, I believe you guys. If you're doing it 50 to 70% of the time, that's obviously good in the sense that it's way harder or way easier to get from that to 100 than it is to go from 0 to 100.
It's from 0, yes.
So, but like Dota is so much about the fundamentals. And it's like at my bracket, the beauty of it is everyone's doing the fundamentals. Everyone's doing the things they have to do to win the game. At that point, you get to outplay each other. You know, you get to like out mind game people, and you get to like, you know, do some crazy plays, and you get to predict what they're going to do and read them like a book and shit. It's like in your bracket, the way you get the way you win is just doing everything fundamentally correct over and over again, and it's actually enjoyable to see it pay off. Go ahead, what's up?
Yes, coach, I have a question. When does doing these fundamentals, up to what rank does that win me games?
About 4 or 5K, I'd argue.
Are you serious?
Yeah, about 4 or 5K, I think.
I can reach 4 or 5K by just doing what you've taught me. Yeah, just these things.
If all the things I'm like along the way teaching you, like there's obviously more things I have to keep teaching you, but I would say like I just did, just to tell you, I did a replay analysis just like an hour or two ago of a guy that went from like 1.7 to 3.5K playing carry, and he was like spamming a lot of jug in the way I did in my Smurf video. And he was basically pushing all the lanes, but he wasn't being persistent enough with the top lane. He was dire, so his bottom lane, but from Radiant's side, he wasn't being persistent enough with the top lane. I said, top lane's your home, push the shit out of this lane, and make them make you stop. Make them make you stop. So it's like, the beauty of that, seeing that, was that it really looked like he was mindlessly pushing waves. And the fact that got him to 3.5K as a carry is like hilarious. Like, I think that's hilarious. He was pretty mindlessly pushing lanes. And so what I'm trying to say to you guys is like the first step is just getting yourself in the mentality that lanes got to be pushed.
Pushing the lanes wins you games.
About 1 or 2K MMR, all you got to do is make sure you're doing that at least as a carry. And like as a support, it's a little bit more. You're not going to win as many games just because you're a support, but you'll still win more than 50%. It's like then around 2-3K, you got to start pushing your limits a little bit. You got to start like being a little bit more aggressive. You got to start being more efficient while you're doing it. You know, like we were talking about, making sure you're getting the CS, making sure you're using your abilities effectively, like nice and fast. As a support, that means warding. That means, you know, flying items to yourself the second you have them. It's like, if you're going to get gone on here, I want you to have that cloak towards your Glimmer Cape, or like a Void Stone towards your Yules, or another Windlace towards your Yules, so that your max movement speed, you have a, you know, all that kind of shit. I want you to have a Sentry and a Ward so you're not getting ambushed. Like, you're doing exactly what I want you to do now. And,
it's just the itemization.
And so, like, to get to, like, 4K, 5K, it's doing what you're fundamentally supposed to do and doing it mechanically correct.
Mechanically correct.
At that point, around 4.5, 5K, I would say, is where you have to start thinking about specific hero matchups. specific places you're supposed to
Only
go
then
in specific
at four,
games.
are you only then?
I encourage people around 3 to 4K to think about this stuff, but I am almost certain you can play the game on rinse and repeat and make it to 5,000 MMR.
Like this.
Meaning if you play the game ideally, perfectly, every game, without even considering the other heroes in the game, you'll win to be 5K. I am like almost certain.
Wow, that is
I am almost
insane.
certain. It's hard to prove this shit. But to be honest, that's how I gained MMR. So
yeah, but you know what, Coach? Actually, since our session 2 weeks ago, I've had an above 50% win rate.
Nice.
Above 50%, I would say 60, because I do a counter now of my games.
Yeah.
I'm like 9-5. Last week I was like 7-4 or 7-3.
My goal for supports is like 60%, like 55% even. Like if you're winning above half, that's good enough for me. Like I think supports, like the only way I can reliably win on support is because I'm obviously on my Smurf games is like I'm way above the MMR. But for you guys, I want you to play good enough where, it's good enough to win more than half. Like that's what I want you to do. And I'm seeing your team do some stupid shit bottom, and you're pushing top, and I'm like,
yes,
thumbs up to that.
This is it. This is it. And
what do I have an issue with you being top here, though? What do I have an issue with?
What do I have an issue? I have my items there. I don't have wards.
You don't have wards.
I'm not warding.
It's just over and over again. Like what you're doing is mechanically going the right places. And it's these moments where you're TPing to top lane, and you clear the creep wave, and you're walking to the next creep wave. Or you're walking from a lane to a camp. Or you're checking a rune. These like 5-second points where you're walking.
Yeah.
That's when you gotta buy your items. And that's when you gotta fly yourself shit.
Okay.
And
those
so
in-betweens.
Yes, these little in-betweens. Because you're doing all of the core things correctly, but you're not making efficient use of the time that you're not doing core things correctly.
I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna write that down. Wait.
Yes.
Wait. Can we walking from one lane to another?
It's really just anytime you're walking. Like anytime you're walking, like you're walking from lane to lane, you're walking from camp to lane, you're walking to a rune. You just, you said you walk from bottom to mid a lot now, or you walk from lane to lane. Like at those moments is when you're checking your items. You're spending your money, you're checking your mana and health. It's like at my bracket we have to find way more spots. But I think this is like the beginner's aspect of learning to buy items.
Yes. And I recognize those in-betweens. It's the in-betweens.
It's really not that hard to recognize it once it's brought to your attention and you focus on it.
Yes.
But thinking about it, sometimes it's way more obvious than it should be. Go ahead, Aaron.
No, I agree. But normally, Coach, I would really place a ward over those stairs here, on the enemy dire jungle. That spot right above the outpost, I put it there.
Yeah.
Usually, if I'm in this situation, I would put it right there. Yeah, right there, right on top there. Because if you usually put it at the stairs near Roshan, usually they deward it all the time.
Yeah.
I noticed your ward where you warded in the middle there, right above that stair. Yeah, you warded there, like as maiden. Yeah, around that area. And I realized that you put it there because that's usually a spot that's not dewarded.
Yeah.
And at least that ward would stay there more often than not. And I've been following that. The only reason I would put a deward there above the stairs in Roshan is if we're taking Roshan.
Yeah. That's usually the ones you do that are obvious are ones that your team is making a move right then and there.
To make a move, and when I do not have the luxury to basically ward at a decent spot, then or like in this situation, that's when I would just ward there. But yeah, I totally understand. I am supposed to be warding.
Okay.
I definitely am supposed to be.
Yep, I'm just gonna keep emphasizing that. I think what you're doing on the map is reasonable though. Like you showing up to a team fight after you push mid. Or after you push top, excuse me. You're going to push out the mid lane real quick. You're actually going to rotate it towards your team and get some D-wards. This part's good. Yes. So this is a situation where if your entire team wants to take over these two lanes, it's an okay exception to, like, not play here. What I want you and everyone else watching to have the next step be is that if this lane is not at your tower, it's perfectly acceptable to play these two lanes.
Okay.
Like,
Because we could have we're taking their triangle farm. So I'm
yes,
just like,
the whole idea is that you usually only take this area when you're pretty damn far ahead. It's hard to take this area. You're supposed to
we
take
were.
Roche beforehand too. But I want
Yes.
you guys to realize, especially as supports, is your job is to make sure this lane doesn't like hit your building. Because you like TP'd here because this was happening right here.
Yes.
Like there's the tower was dying,
Yeah.
and your team was like 4-man here. And a lot of people would say, BSJ, how do I know whether or not to join my team? If this lane
Yeah.
is not hitting your tower, feel free to play wherever your team is. Feel free to just follow them, even if it's not correct. Just follow them. Do what you did here, where you met up with them, you placed a sentry, you placed a ward, but then always remember to not let this hit your tower.
Don't let the inefficiency. I remembered. Okay, once that's there, I would TP back. Coach,
Yes.
can I share with you what I was thinking? Why I also was like not really saying much to my team during this time.
Yeah, go ahead.
I felt that we didn't have a Roche taking lineup, and I don't know if that's correct.
Your lineup's pretty decent. SF does a lot of physical damage.
Okay, so we could have taken.
You guys could have
Because
taken Roche. It's not fantastic, but it could. You
Yeah.
guys could do it.
Coach, here's a question. Because this would help me in a lot of situations. How do you know you have a Roche taking lineup and when you don't? Because I've initiated Roche so much over like months, and there are situations saying we can't take Roche right now. I have my team saying we cannot take Roche right now. Like it's like super obvious.
How do you know exactly where to ward and deward, Ari?
Where we want to play. How do you know exactly where you want to ward and deward? Because that's where we're playing.
Well,
So,
basically what I'm trying to say is you ward places you're playing, and then they deward it or not, or you feel like the ward helped you play there.
Yes.
So the answer to how you know you have a Roche lineup, you understand that Roche takes physical damage. You assess to yourself how much physical damage your team has and whether or not they can take Roche, and you make a guess of whether or not you can, and then you see if it works. If you think you can, you go for it. If you think you can't,
Okay.
you don't go for it. But the way Roche works is just, I think we can. Or if you say BSJ, I think I can't, I would argue, hey, yeah, SF's a pretty good amount of physical damage. Legion can buff him up. Underlord's a decent guy to tank it. You guys could do Roche. Roche is like a combination of sustain, physical damage, and a guy to tank it. Yeah.
Okay.
So in your lineup, you do have that, because SF has the Mask of Madness.
Physical
Legion has her
damage.
W for sustain and damage, and this guy can tank.
Okay. See, now I know this at my level though. Sometimes being able to explain this to my team is very, very helpful, because sometimes they're just convinced they cannot take Roche, and at least you highlighting this, honestly, Coach, is.
I want to tell you
very-
something, Ari. If you say, guys, let's Roche, and your course say no, just accept they're not going to do it. Don't try to explain to them that they should be able to do it. Do not do that. It is so toxic, not in the way that you're like a shitter, but in the way that it's just detrimental for winning the game. Because if a core player who is the guy responsible for killing Roche thinks he cannot kill Roche, then it will not work. It is more likely to be a failure, even if the guy is supposed to.
I can hear the experience behind.
Hey,
your
there
voice.
is a
I'm like,
lot of experience behind
me, Eric.
this.
I can
lot.
hear it.
You are
I feel-
perfectly okay to suggest objectives that you think your team can take. So if you think you can take Roche because of SF, for example, okay, and that guy says no,
Nope.
done. Not
Done.
taking
All right.
Roche.
All right.
The thing about that Marana game that I played on my Smurf, if you checked it out or if you want to check it out, I wanted to get kills top. And I knew my Earthshaker was required. My Blink Dagger Earthshaker, who kept going to the dead lane and dying. He kept walking bottom and dying. He was an off-lane shaker. He kept taking, he had like a really good start, I gave him it, but he had a really good start, and then he went bottom and died over and over again. And I knew that I wanted to play top, and I knew that I wanted to kill people there. But I knew that if that Earthshaker can't figure that out on his own, he's eventually going to have to come here. Like, eventually he'll show up. So if you think you're supposed to roast with SF, by all means, place some wards around it. Keep pushing top lane if you want to. Keep pushing mid if you want to. And you're just waiting for him. That's all you can do. If you watch my Marana game, I'm like, guys, Earthshaker will eventually come to the top half of the map. And guess what? After like 10 minutes of me sitting top and farming, he came top and we got like 3 kills and took Roche or something like that. Or took their tier 2 tower. That was what happened. And the thing is that it's just so much better if you think about what objective you want, think about why you want it. Like in this case, you're like, okay, I think this guy's supposed to rush. I think, and we can talk about it if you're wrong. Just say like, I think we're supposed to rush here. And you just wait for that guy. You literally just wait. Just wait until he shows up.
This is the life of a support.
That's the life of a guy that is not the win condition. It can be the life of an offlaner too. Trust me. It can be the life of an offlaner. It can be the life of a carry who's countered. It was the same thing in my Slark game.
I'm just waiting you to make the right move.
Dude, in the Slark game, I was not strong. In the Slark game I played in my Smurf game, I was not strong. I had a mid-lesh who was super strong, but he was farming incredibly passively. And I was just like, I was getting a little stressed, but I was like, guys, I just have to wait for my Leshrac to play aggressively. And then eventually he played aggressively and we killed them all. But the worst thing I can do as Slark is try to play aggressively without the Leshrac and die. Like, that's like the worst thing I can do. And the thing is, like, the longer it takes for them to show up to the right place, sure, it's inefficient. But it's even worse if you're trying to convince them of doing the right thing when they're arguing with you in game or something. Or like, you're trying to get Roche when the guy that's going to take Roche. Yeah, you're doing a move you're not confident in. It's way worse to do that than it is to, like, just wait. It's sadly. It's actually a lot of discipline that you have to.
What a life I chose. Okay, we got this.
It's literally everyone who's not the carry who single carries the game. Like it's every role, really. It's 4 out of 5 players.
You know what's so funny, Coach? I was experimenting last night playing CM mid on my bot games. And the reason I wanted to play CM mid is because I wanted to understand my carry items.
Okay.
It was a bot game playing CM mid, and I wanted to play. I wanted to understand the items I would need or how it would feel to get carry items.
Okay.
And playing mid was fun. Playing CM mid was fun. And I just realized that coming from a support that understands how to move effectively within a Dota game, having that tower damage. I had MKB, Mjolnir, Desolator, BKB, and what was the last? Those MKB, Mjolnir, Desolator, and BKB.
Being able to single-handedly kill the towers is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and Assault Curious. That's what I had. AC. So I built those items.
Go ahead.
And I was like, Coach, I can take this tower on my own. I don't need you guys. I can take this tower on my own. And I was just like, oh my God, the game. I was like, I can end the game. That's how it felt.
Yeah, so this isn't something we've gotten to talk about yet. It's going to be really soon. It could be now, honestly. It kind of depends. How many days a week do you play Dota?
I play 3 times a week when I stream.
Okay.
And sometimes on, let's say I've gotten all the work done I was supposed to, then I reward myself with a game or two.
Okay. What I was eventually going to have you do, by the way, is I wanted you to play carry. Like one out of 3 of your days of the week. I think it's equally important for carry players to play support sometimes, and I think it's equally important as it is for support players to play carry. I think it's really important for understanding matchups. I think it's really important to like experience firsthand what the carries have done to them, like whether or not they're getting ganked, whether or not they're getting harassed, whether or not they can take certain objectives. Like, how are you ever supposed to know which carries take Roche if you don't actually play them? It's hard.
I've always been told that to be a better support, you have to play carry.
So I was eventually going to get you there. You know, it wasn't a rushed concept. It wasn't like a rushed idea. Like what the eventual regiment's going to be is that we'll take whatever broken hero it is that patch. So like this patch would be Sven, but you know the next patch could be somebody else. Whatever broken carry it is that patch, you just play that hero 30 times over the course of 2 months, 3 months, and it's like 1 day a week. Every game you play is that guy. And
that sounds like a special. That sounds pretty good.
Oh yeah, the fun thing about it is it makes you a better support. It makes you understand the meta better. And 3 years from now, you'll have done it on 15 different carries, and you'll understand those 15 carries quite well. Because even though Sven's like broken as hell right now, and maybe he'll suck next patch, if he comes back in a year or two, he's pretty much going to be the same hero. Maybe they'll have nerfed his Ags or something, but he'll be the same hero, and everything you learned about Sven a year or two ago is going to apply to what you learned about or what you need to know about Sven now. It's gonna apply. Like, trust me, people don't believe this shit, but like, there's so many heroes where, like Lesh, for instance, I used to play Lesh a lot, and then this patch he kind of became popular in the last month or two, and I was like, oh, Lesh seems pretty good.
Strong.
And I went and played Lesh, and it only took me like 2 games to get back in the groove. I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Like, I remember Lesh. I've played this hero before. Like, I remember his timings and his items and his spell casting, and I just hadn't played him in a while. But like, you know, I'll maybe need that 1 game to warm up again or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just saying for people that they underestimate that Dota is just accruing a little bit of knowledge at a time. Yeah. And I think if you're a support, the majority of your knowledge needs to be from a support role, just like it is for a carry. But I think if a carry player were to play support 1 day a week, they would be a better carry player. Because there's a lot of things as a carry player that your support needs from you. And a lot of people don't actually know that. Even like top 100 Immortal players, I'm not kidding. They don't know how to help their support player be a support. This isn't something I started learning until... So like an instance of this would be that if I'm a Sven right here, I'll give you an instance of what a carry is supposed to do to help a support.
Okay.
So if you're trading with Silencer right now, right? What if Sven Quelling Bladed this tree and walked at the Silencer? What happens?
Oh, Silencer would just freaking back off.
Okay, and what would you be doing? You'd be hitting the Silencer, right?
I'd be hitting the Silencer with my Nova, man.
What would Sven be losing for doing that?
He uses his tangos. What's that?
What is Sven losing for doing that?
What is Sven losing for doing that?
Like, if he stands over here right now, what's he losing for it?
He might potentially lose CS.
Yes, but like at the current moment, what's he losing for it?
Nothing.
Nothing. So a good carry player will fit that in between CSs, like between creeps dying. They'll walk over.
Kind of like what I'm doing, like little in-betweens, like little efficient in-betweens.
Exactly.
So that's an efficient in-between as a carry.
So as a carry, like when I say it's good to help your support, it's like if I played support and I did this trade and I thought to myself, God, all I wish is my carry would be like right here. Guess what I would do better as a carry player, right? Like as a carry player, I would be like, oh yeah, my support really could have used this. It's something I actually learned a lot because I played support a bit, and I was like, holy shit. Playing off lanes opened my eyes a lot because there's certain things on the map that carry players can do that kind of grief their team. Carry is the best role for being very self-centered, very like worried about your own game, and it's like really difficult to see the big picture. I had a recent YouTube video that was Mason versus PPD. And it was like talking about like they got into an argument during a pub. Yeah,
I watched this where he was supposed to chose to rotate top, but Mason said you were supposed to stay with me. He was closer, right?
So it's like from
conclusion to that.
My verdict was in favor of PPD because what happens is as a carry, if you're strong in lane, you want people to make you stronger. But sometimes it's worth to like not be getting kills for your team to be like getting stuff done elsewhere. It's like as long as I'm not feeding on carry, it's like I'm willing to give up some aggression because you only have so much resources, right? So many resources. You have 5 heroes. So it's like if CM were to stay bottom and help Mason, they'd probably be able to bully the mag, maybe kill him once or twice. But what's more important, that or having his mid laner rotate top, him take mid lane XP and kill their carry and get a tower? Like, what's more important?
Definitely the latter.
But from a carry's perspective, all you see is this mag in front of you that's supposed to die, and you want him dead because you know you could kill him.
He was probably especially bloodthirsty because he was an Ursa. So
yes, exactly, right? So what I'm saying is carry players, like, I don't think Mason's, like, bad for thinking that, but I do think it's a really important thing for carry players to understand that sometimes you have to be put on the back burner so your team can be successful with, like, map objective movements. So it's like in the carry role in the lane, it's really important. Yeah. Jesus, Collie. 1 second.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Don't fight. Oh. Well, hello, BSJ chat. I guess.
I love her, but she can't just be like bursting out laughing ridiculously loud with the door open. Okay.
It's fine.
No, I'm not. I'm just laughing. I'm not upset or anything. I'm just like, Jesus, like close your freaking door. I know she'd yell at me.
Hi, Collie.
Yeah. She's over there laughing and it looks like a funny YouTube video. But okay, so basically what I was getting at though is that Sven, it's like his job as a carry in terms of the team is to make sure in the laning stage that he's like helping you trade with this guy. Because it's like the goal is if he walks over here, if Silencer stays, he's going to stun him. You nuke him. He takes like 400 damage. Maybe he dies. Yeah. Or the Silencer walks away, which in that case you're nuking him and you're hitting him on his way out. And all he did was miss nothing for it. But like a lot of carry players, they're just going to stay over here. They're just going to sit back.
You know what I think the great thing from this conversation was, Coach?
Yeah.
I understood what was efficient for Sven. I understood that he lost nothing from doing that thing with Silencer. Because you taught me that the most important thing is CS.
Yep.
So I understood that. I'm just like, because I understood what I need to do to enable my carries to support, I understood what was efficient for a carry as well at the same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is where I hated that freaking base damage. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna take that creep. You know you're gonna take that creep.
Hey, the thing is, if you're not doing this, he's right-clicking your carry, right? So this is all still good. Yeah.
I was looking him in the eye. I'm like, you know, you're gonna take that freaking neutral, you bastard, with your freaking like high ass base damage. and yeah, he was smiling. He was smiling. I was just like, yeah, you're gonna lose later. I'm gonna take nuking the rate. There you go, taking the EXP. I was saving my Nova just so that I can get that last hit there. But and there he is. Sven doing his thing. He was a bit he liked taking a stroll here, but yeah, just understanding that I can't trade for shit against a Silencer was for me just my game plan just not. I tried to pull. Yeah, did I get this pull? Yeah, I did. Nope, I didn't.
You stacked it though, which Sven doesn't mind.
Yeah. That. Oop, I don't know what happened there.
Everything you're doing in this lane is fine, Ari. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. You're continuously trying to pull. You're playing away from your Sven. You're giving him solo XP. If you were to walk up against Mars and Silencer, you would just die. So all of this stuff is good. Your Sven is not making the best use of it as he could. But at the end of the day, if he's farming jungle and you're farming lane, it's just as efficient as if he's farming lane and you're farming jungle.
And
right?
look, Coach, I went up. I was just like, oh, Sven's there. I'm gonna go take the.
I saw that. This is all so fucking good, Ari. I'm dead serious. Like, if you look, people may say BSJ, he seems to be leaving his Sven alone all the time. Like, it looks really bad. And it's just like, level 4, not quite level 5, almost level 6. What's the argument? There is no fucking argument, Ari. You're playing alone from him as often as you possibly can. If he takes jungle, you go lane. He goes lane, you take jungle. It doesn't matter. We're just trying to get the most summed up XP and gold that we possibly can.
In total.
That's all we care about.
I was getting some XP too. I was getting XP too.
Yeah, no. Like, so you're not like level 1 or some shit, right? You're almost level 4. Yeah. Like, you're the same level as Silencer. You are objectively getting more experience than the opponent. There's no, like, counter argument. I feel like so many people would watch this and say, why is he not helping Sven more? Sven's been tanking so much damage. Haven't you salved him twice? There you go.
I salved him twice.
You at least salved him once. I know for at least once. I think I saw it twice. And that's the thing.
Once. I don't know.
That's the thing, though, Ari, is like, if you're playing like this, the only thing you have to realize is the salve's going to make a big difference because against, like, Silencer Mars, your carry's going to get harassed a lot. But if you guys need any proof in the pudding or whatever, this guy's a whole level ahead of the Mars. Like, that's all we care. That's all we care.
Yes. And we weren't getting kills much. I'm just like, Sven, come back. But honestly, I understood the win condition. We had 2 carries, and I wasn't sure if they had one. So I was just like, I understood our win condition here. It was like, we have an Alk and a Sven. We win late game. That's what I told them. If we go late game, we win. That's what I told my team. And all I needed to do was push the lanes effectively until they're farmed enough. That's what I was thinking. If they don't manage to pressure us, basically take our towers, then we pretty much have a very high chance of winning the game.
You are absolutely correct, and I'm going to ask you a funny question. What do you think of this nuke right here on both of them?
This nuke on both of them?
You nuke
okay,
them right
what do
here.
I think of this? Okay, I think I know what you're going to try to say, Coach. I'm going to try to understand.
Yeah, let's find out. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay. This was an inefficient nuke because I could have used it for my creep wave.
So why did you nuke?
They were right there. I was just like...
Because you hit both of them, right?
I hit both of them, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's funny that this is in 1K, but what is Silencer thinking that you just nuked both of them there?
What is Silencer thinking?
Yeah, why would you nuke both of them? What is he thinking? How would you possibly know to nuke both of them?
Oh, there's a ward.
And why would he know that you know that and you shouldn't know that?
Why would he know?
Why would he know that you see them? Why would he know?
Because I nuked them.
You nuked them.
Yes.
But can your hero see them?
Can my hero see them? Yes, I can see them because of my ward.
Can your hero see them? You're literally telling me the only reason you can see them, which he knows, is that ward.
Yes, yes.
Watch
yes,
this.
that ward.
Watch this.
And
you
then
nuke them?
And then he's gonna de-ward. Yes, I remember this. I remember. Oh.
Dota information is so important, Ari. I'm glad you got punished for it in 1K. I think that's hilarious, but like that you got punished for it in 1K. But if your ward is the only thing that sees them, you have to do shit that doesn't make it super obvious that you see them.
Oh. Okay, I'm glad we came to this.
Yeah, if you're gonna ward, you can't just...
Nova gave away that ward.
Yeah, like you got de-warded instantly, bro. People do this shit in my bracket. Mainly carries who are ranked 300 or more who have no concept of the strategical part of Dota. Where they
So you're
nuke
saying
me.
I should have acted like I didn't have the ward.
Yeah, you
so
should never nuke them in that spot. Because you're literally saying, hey guys, I see both of you right there.
I see both of you. I'm like, oh, this CM has a ward. I gave it away.
Yeah. It's funny how Dota works. I'm glad he punished you for it.
Oh wait, a ward. He did punish. He got that ward XP. He got that ward gold. Yep. Oh, honestly, that's kind of important that happened, Coach.
Yeah, there's no way. That's why a lot of times I don't get to talk about this stuff in your bracket because like nobody counterplays you, but you did get counterplayed here, so I can start talking about it some. But like if like that's the kind of stuff we can't talk about unless you're warding your lane like that, right? And you actually warded again on top of that same sentry, so that's a pretty big no-no there.
That's a boo-boo there, yes.
Yeah, but he actually debated the silencer to come over and try to de-ward it.
That's what I was doing, Coach.
That was the goal, the debate.
That was the plan. It wasn't even, that is exactly what I thought of. I'm like, I'm gonna debate.
You're 10 steps ahead.
It worked. Yes, that was.
Yeah, so he TP'd mid, took over the lane. I would have tried to get the bounty, but maybe you were too scared. You're actually chasing this guy. Just another example. I don't mind anything you're doing, Ari. You have like 300 gold on the courier and you have 600 gold in your inventory. It's just the same stuff in that regard. Like,
yes, I should have just bought my tranquils. I think, yeah, I should have bought my tranquils.
As soon as you possibly can. I just want you maxed out on items as often as you possibly can. It's a lot. It's actually hard. Meaning, it takes a lot of conscious effort to make sure you're buying your items. And it's like the only reason people in my bracket do it is because we've practiced it for a long time.
For a long time,
and even when I'm playing a hero I'm unfamiliar with, sometimes I forget to buy items. Like, that's how much mental thought it takes unless it is literally routine for you.
Coach, literally, I'll tell you this, just as a funny story. I bought 2 boots just within the last 2 weeks because I forgot I had.
I accidentally bought 2 blade mails today. I've never done that. I've literally never done that. I was trying to...
I had 2 windlaces, and I was like, why do I have 2 windlaces? I'm like, oh, I'm Jakiro, 1 for each neck. Of course.
Yeah, there you go. 1 for each neck, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, it looks pretty. But that's sometimes it happens. I'm glad you bought 2 blade mails. That makes me feel.
Yeah,
a lot
it
better.
happens, man. The goal is to make it happen as little as possible.
I was like, that'll make me feel better. Well, Coach B bought 2 blade mails, so you're okay. Don't worry about it. He bought. That's way more expensive. And
so
that is not cost efficient.
Something you said to me, Ari, which was nice, was you said I have a lot of farming heroes, and all we need to do is not lose towers. And so I'm seeing you put a lot of emphasis on mid and top, and I think that's really important. You said we have a lot of carries. Let's just not lose buildings. They're probably going to go for mid and top because that's what BSJ tells me. And you made this 1 move bottom, whatever. If you want to make active moves elsewhere, it's under the understanding that they're not taking buildings top and mid. And so now you came back top, pushed out the lane, and you're just saying if nothing happens in this game, BSJ, I'm chilling. That's what you told me earlier. Yeah, and I agree with this.
Like, I felt that we had control of the game because I'm like, oh, you are not doing what you're supposed to win this game. We have an Alchemist Sven. So I'm just like, I'm just going to make sure that this keeps happening until we get really strong and we're going to mow
That's a really strong recognition, Ari. That's really good. I think this is, to be fair, like, it is a very strong game in the sense of, like, you have a lot of farmers. So if there were a situation where you'd recognize you have a lot of farmers, this is the one. But I think for someone in your bracket to think like that is huge. Like, it's very game-changing for you guys to just be
thanks
like,
to
yeah,
you,
I am
coach.
content with what's going on in this game. That is hard to say, Ari. That is actually hard to say. So,
Really?
yeah, you'd be amazed. A lot of people in my bracket don't think like that either. Just like, you'd be amazed how
Really?
often we're like free farming. I'm like an alk, and I'm
take it.
like, in the game's perfectly fine, and my team tries to make some aggressive four-man smoke and feeds.
Oh.
And it's like, guys, we could just have nothing happen in this game and we win based on what's
Yeah, that's
currently
what I-
happening. And it happens
that's
all the
what I
time in my
thought.
bracket. Like, it happens all the
Yeah.
time. So I'm saying, like, that recognition for you and everyone watching that whatever's happening in this game is chill as fuck. All you got to do at that point is prevent the opponent from getting a move, right?
That's it.
Because if,
That's what I was doing.
if you're content with what's going on, I guarantee the enemy team isn't content or they're just bad. Either way. Either way. Like, you're winning.
I'm just like, when I saw my alt getting farm, I'm like, oh, look at you hitting faster. I'm like, okay, we're gonna win. I'm like, because Sven was getting his farm. He was getting free farm. Oh, we got this DP as well. But yeah, I salved my boy here because he was low and helped him get that creep camp as well.
Yeah, you're just making a lot of counter ganks. It looks like you haven't really tried to make any active moves, which I think is correct this game. I don't know if that was intentional, but that is correct to my, like, in my opinion.
I just felt that my carries were farming, and I knew that they were farm heavy. Oh, they got me here, unfortunately. I didn't see that. That's where I supposed to have a ward, and there I understand. I was supposed to have.
Well, my question is, how bad was that death? Scale of 1 to 10. 10's like the most worst death ever. 1's like whatever.
I would say maybe like a 2.
Yeah, about a 2. Like, maybe you
About
could
a
have
2.
maybe you could have avoided feeding, but like, what did they gain
If
off
I
of it?
placed the ward, then maybe that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, but what did they
And
gain
that-
off of it, right? Like, what did the enemy team get off that death? Literally nothing.
Nothing. They lost mana to a CM.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it.
Well, actually, your team lost mana per second, so you saw a big fight go on mid, you TP'd in to potentially help, or walked in, whatever, and then you instantly win bottom. And set up a play here. Backed off, okay. That's fine. Yeah, I don't mind this. Like, once again, your warding this game was better than the other game, but, okay, you do get a ward up eventually. Okay, better late than never.
Because
Sooner the better.
it was the ward to take the thing, and they all TP here, which is amazing.
Yeah, this is all good, man. So, like,
I'm
when
just
you have
like,
people
great.
farming, the two things you can do is make aggressive plays bottom to make space, or to defend the top two towers to ensure that space remains. That's the two things
Can you say
do.
that again, Coach? Sorry.
To make when your team is farming and you're content with that, you can either make an aggressive move bottom in order to try to draw people, like you're making space, you're like drawing attention to yourself, or you go stand top or mid defending the towers, such that the space is still there, right? Like you're preserving the space by doing that, right? Does that make sense?
I understand this. You
Okay.
can make an aggressive move top. Yes.
No, aggressive move bottom is what I said.
But aggressive move safe lane.
To their safe lane.
To aggressive move to their safe lane.
Everything you've been doing here has been either nuking out top or mid, or making a move on bottom, which is actually correct.
Okay.
I'm just telling you and everyone watching that if you're content with the game, your first and foremost worry is them taking your stuff. If you're content with the
Yes,
game.
that's what I was thinking.
So making sure
That's
they
what I
don't
was
take
thinking.
top or mid tower is like number one priority. It's like if you're
That's-
not content with the game, you have to go do something.
Yes.
Like in that
And
case,
that's when you smoke.
That's when you smoke for that tower bottom. That's when you smoke for a kill. The emphasis is the fact that the opponent is just doing nothing on your side of the map says so much about how bad they are.
Yes.
How are they possibly content trading farm with an Alk and a Sven?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was just like, and I was on the opposite side of that, so I was like completely happy.
It
I'm
happens sometimes in my games area. I shit you not. The games that bother
so
me the
happy.
most is when we're in a game where there's just no way my teammates, because they're all good enough, they're all like, 8K or whatever. There's no way that they see my 5 heroes and they see their 5 heroes. Then they say trading farm is great. Let's just chill. There's just no way in certain games that they're content with nothing happening in the game. And what happens in this region that bothers me the most is like a tenth of my games, maybe even more, are literally just one team doing literally nothing and losing the game. It's like watching this game where the opponent just let you farm on Alex Finn and just lost the game. It's like
And
if you were
honestly,
the Pudge or the Silencer and you're that support, I'd be calling smoke ganks left and right. Let's go kill that
right.
Sven.
It's like-
Let's go kill that Alk.
Alk or Sven. It's like if we get Alk or Sven, then we're doing something. And I am for certain that the enemy team felt uncomfortable. Like I'm just like I'm sure, or if they didn't, then that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, and if they
But
did feel uncomfortable and this is their choices to do nothing, that tells you a lot too. But for you to know you're comfortable and that if nothing happens, it's good for you is so important. It's so
it
important.
took a while to get there, and it took a while to get here, like to have this understanding of this situation. But it is very satisfying, Coach.
It is very like to know the game's okay or like you're doing whatever you're supposed to be doing is like the best feeling in Dota. It's something I've started working on myself. It's like
great.
constantly asking, "Am I okay with this situation?" Something big for me recently has been the same lesson that I think Mason needed to learn in that one YouTube video. Is that if my teammate leaves, even though I feel like I should be aggressive, I kind of just had to have faith or whatever that they think there's something better to do on the map and let them do it. If the guy's like a rank 400 who says he's never supported before, maybe I'll micro him a bit, you know. But like if it's like PPD, for instance, I kind of just have to trust. I kind of just have to trust that they know what they're doing. And if he leaves, it's like if he leaves, I kind of just have to adjust. It's like if he was here, I'd be killing them. If he's not here, I have to play defensively. And it's like if that's the case, play the defensive route. You know. For me, I've been stuck in this loop of what should be happening in the game, what my teammates should be doing, what I think the game should look like, and instead of that, think what's within your power. So if you're content with the game being fine or like way it is, you're doing exactly what I would want you to do. If you were on the other team, I would want you trying to initiate some smoke gank on the Alk or the Sven. Maybe it's not going to work. Maybe you should have approached the smoke gank differently. Whatever.
But that was the right play. But that was the right play.
The acknowledgement that you had to do something is such a huge first step. It is actually so important. It is a skill that a lot of high MMR players, I'm talking like top 1% players, don't even consider. I didn't consider it for a long time. And I think that people even newer to the game, such as yourself, as you're getting better, as you're learning, can think about the game this way and actually use it to your advantage. Because at the end of the day, your assessment of the game does not have to be perfect. It just has to be better than the guy that's in your MMR.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes. Yes. Coach, I got to say, this understanding is really thanks to you. Thanks to you, Coach.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it.
Dude,
and so
like, it's being able to see it and understand it. It started with the basic core concepts of what I understand wins a Dota game, which is what you thought. So everything just kind of falls into place. And thanks, Coach. Thanks.
I'm glad to hear
it. Felt good. This was a solo queue double down game, so I was thrilled. I was like,
I'm ending the replay here because you're literally up by 14K at 22 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
we mowed them over. We mowed them over. It wasn't even close.
You've done your job. Honestly, in most support games, up until a long time from now, I would usually want to end the replay around 20 or 30 minutes because that's where 90% of your influence will be there. Honestly, like half of it or more is in the laning stage, so that's why I was emphasizing that a lot. So yeah, moving forward for you, just to rehash, it's just the fundamentals of warning and items I think are your big thing the next week or two.
Just polish a little bit more, and you are suggesting this carry thing.
That will be next period. I think I want to do your session 2 weeks from now, and then we'll do the carry games. I want to say when the new patch comes out, and I'll pick a hero for you that I think out of all of the meta carries is the easiest. I would say.
Yes.
I'll give you.
Coach, we do have a nice announcement for next year. Like
we do
for the series. Yes, of what we've been taught. Yeah, so we will make that. We can make a proper announcement about that soon.
Yeah, I wasn't sure exactly. We'll a little hint for people, but there is stuff in the future for this series.
It is a sure thing, Coach.
Yeah,
it has been
awesome. So, you'd never given me the 100%, but.
It is 100 now.
Nice.
I have gotten the confirmation, so we can properly announce that after our next session.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. For anyone who's excited to see more of this, then that's good news for you. But yeah, so I want to keep making sure we're focusing on one thing at a time for you, maybe two. It's those two things, the items and the warding. So I just want you to have vision wherever you're playing. It may not be the perfect vision. It may get dewarded. But when you ward, just like you did in lane there and you nuked him from fog, I can talk about that. That's stuff to learn from. You'll slowly but surely learn little things that can go wrong or right or whatever. But like these movements in this game, they're really promising. If you were to play like this every game, you'd win most of them.
I have 60%. I think I've won at
Yep.
least 60 to 70% of my games since we talked last week. That last session was huge, Coach.
Yep.
And I wanted to say one last thing. What's really helped with our sessions, Coach? Focusing on a small thing at a time, like on
Yeah.
a specific thing. In the beginning, it was a nice broad picture of things, but what has really kind of, I think, was been big steps is when I just focused on just this. I found that it has helped me a lot in terms of learning and just honing what I needed. That's been super, super helpful. So I'm just going to focus on this on the next 2 weeks, plus the things I'm continually learning.
Absolutely. And the one other thing, if you can fit it in, it's up to you to decide that, is the 7-minute mark. I want you to ask yourself who you think you should play around.
I know that's my number 4,
Okay.
Coach. If
Okay.
you're that's my number 3. 7-8 minutes. Ask yourself who do you want to play around. That's important, Coach. You're saying how important is that? Like as a support, it's just me trying to understand.
I would say it should guide like 80 or 90% of what you do between 7 to 10 minutes. Like almost everything you decide there. If you answer the who you're supposed to play around correctly, you'll make every move correctly in the 7 to 10 minute mark.
If you answer, and that's me understanding.
It's going to be hero matchups. It's going to be like your heroes. Like if you're a Jakiro, you're looking to push. If you're CM, you're looking to gank or counter gank. If you're Shadow Shaman, you're maybe doing a gank or a push. Like you're learning your own hero. You're learning your teammates' heroes. And it's not meant to be that like I said to you, we can learn a lot about hero-specific stuff as you get way higher.
Yes.
But if we can initiate a very, rudimentary version of this to your like a way of thinking about the game, hopefully over time it will click. It's going to be like a small portion of our session where I just say, hey, Ari, I told you to think about this. Give me your best.
Okay.
Like, what did you think?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm liking what we're developing, Coach, because obviously our sessions that is developing in itself, and so far I think we're getting a good groove on.
I'm trying to learn to be a better teacher. That's just as important as you guys learning from me. So.
I'm feeling it, Coach. I'm like, it's. I think we're definitely getting to a groove, and it feels good. And you know what's so funny, Coach? Something I just want to highlight here. In my bracket, if you're looking at 14 kills, you'd think it's a thing, but it's not the kills. It's the gold lead that is the better indicator, right?
Oh, kills don't matter for shit. No, absolutely not.
Because we were down 17-5 at one game. 17-5. They had 17 kills and we were 5. And I was assuring my team, it was a solo queue. We had an AM.
Yeah.
AM. I'm just like, listen, we just have to get our AM to get fat eventually, and we'll be okay. They were ganking the hell out of us, but not really focusing so much on objectives. Yeah. But I'm just like, don't worry, guys. Our AM is farming and doing what he's supposed to. He's pushing the lanes when we're fighting. If he gets fat, we got this. Just keep doing let's just hold on for a bit, and AM is doing what he's supposed to. If he wasn't doing what he's supposed to, then the game's lost. But he was an AM that was doing what he knew what he was doing. So I'm just like, just wait, hold off. We're gonna come back once we get our items. And AM hits his power spikes. We got this, and we won the game, down 17-5. Normally they would give up, and even my teammates were just like, dude, if you weren't saying this, we totally would have been blaming each other or losing the game. So I was just like, it was very, very rewarding to get
if you're confident in everything going on to be like okay or still winnable, it's actually really good to communicate that kind of stuff. If you say, hey guys, we're just farming, I'm defending top and mid, let's do this, like just keep doing this. That like even just saying like what's happening currently is good, because a lot of times I've realized even in my bracket there are people that will always have a different perception of the game. And it's based on usually their hero having a shitty game. It's usually very hard if you have like a really farmed anti-mage and like 2 other cores that are struggling for those cores to remain content and positive about the game. It's almost almost never happens. A lot of people see the game from their little magnifying, their little window, and they have a hard time seeing the bigger picture. And learning to see that bigger picture is a really important part of the 5 position, but it's also like something that a lot of other positions should work on. Because in my bracket, even now, I have this issue in the past. I'm working on it, and I think almost every player in an A has the problem of seeing the bigger picture. It's like, if your game sucks, who on your team is having a good game? If one guy is having a good game, all you got to do is make it happen for that guy to carry you. That's all you got to do. And it's like, if that means pushing lanes and feeding while you do it, and you're losing 20-5 in kills, you know, Beast Coast got 8th place TI doing that shit, Ari. I don't know if you watched.
Really?
Yeah, they were infamous at the time.
They made a name for themselves. Yeah,
It's literally
This is
just
the SAT,
Hector
right?
farming by himself, and the other 4 relentlessly feeding across the map, and they win games. It's like,
Really?
when I say they're feeding, they're like playing hyper aggressive. They're forcing tons of reactions. They're getting a ton of farm, and they're feeding. Beast Coast is like, they're like,
is
so many of their
entertaining.
games, they're down by like 10 kills, and they're winning in net worth, and you're just like,
That's why the community really loved that.
Yeah,
they
it's
they
proof.
were fun to watch.
It's proof there that, like, as long as you're content for some reason about the game and you know what your win condition is, kills, all this kind of stuff doesn't exactly matter that much. Like, you just have to know what objectives in the game matter, what the win condition is. That's all you have to really know. And for you, it's like, at a rudimentary level, you thought you were happy farming. Dude, that's like way better than I would ever ask of a 1K player. For you to just say, hey, BSJ, I think I'm happy farming. It's like at 7 minute mark, if you give me like, hey, Coach B, I think I was supposed to go mid here. I'd be like, you know, man, the fact that you're even thinking about that's way better than anyone in your 1K bracket. Because it's actually really important. Something I've noticed with support players, even in my bracket, they are super weak at understanding where to go after the laning stage. And it's all about the core matchups. So, like, that's all it is. It's like, you know, your Legion is a hero you gank for, your SF's a hero you babysit and protect. Your, like, for a Sven, you're just trying to defend towers for him. You know, that's what
that
you're
he can
trying to
farm.
do. Yep, so he can farm. Every hero's treated a bit differently. But what
Yes.
the cool thing is 90% of Sven games, he's doing the exact same shit. Alchemist, 90% of Alchemist games, he's doing the exact same shit.
Exact same
So
shit, yeah.
once you notice the trends of these heroes, then eventually it all comes to like this one big picture that kind of just this puzzle that piece by piece you're
That's when it
filling
gets
in.
fun.
Dude,
That's when it gets fun.
that dude, when it
That's
feels
when
like
it
you
gets
know more
fun.
than the opponent, it feels so fucking good. It actually
Too
feels
freaking
so
outplayed.
good when you just know you know more than they do. When you're playing the map better than they are, you're like, damn.
So happy winning. I was so happy winning this game. I was just
feels
like,
so
oh
good.
my god, they don't know. Alk and Sven, guys, literally, coach. But again, these sessions over the past months have helped me get to this place, and
Awesome.
I'm enjoying the game. I am enjoying the game, Coach B.
I've had
I'm
a lot of
enjoying
people
the
come to me saying that, and that's awesome. I think Dota's a lot of chaos, and it's a lot of sometimes it's hard to know what's right or wrong or what's going right or wrong. So I'm glad to hear that you're getting more enjoyment out of it. So any final questions, buddy, before we let you go?
I am good, sir. I'm good, man. I have these things to work on. 7 to 8 minute mark. Ask yourself, who do you want to play with? Definitely my warding and these in between. This in between. Getting my items, making sure that is 100% and not 60 to 70%. And the giving away my wards as well. That was the silencer thing. I think was a really nice.
That was a
thing
nice little touch. That
was a nice
I can't
little
plan that
bonus
shit. It's just gonna kind of
from our
happen.
session, yeah, and it was a great thing. And the Roche takes physical damage. Roche taking is sustain and physical damage and tank. For me, that is very, very good. I'm happy that that was pointed out, so I can at least try to assess those situations for my future games. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, coach.
Yeah, have a good night, bud, or a good day. And I'll see you in a
Yes.
couple
You
weeks.
have a good night. Get some sleep, buddy.
Yep, see you.